Hello everybody, welcome back to our tutorial. My name is Chidiebere. This is a tutorial series on Firestore, Firebase and Flutter. So we are using the platform Firebase, and the database we are using is Firebase, where Firestore, and we are using the Flutter programming language. So without wasting much of our time, let's quickly run over what we did before. We've gone through on how to add data to our Firestore, and this is our Firestore here. We've added some couple of data in here. We've also looked at how to update the data in our Firestore, updating them, and how to update them dynamically and how to update them using the document ID. And we also looked at how to add sub-collections, how to delete documents, and how to delete fields. So without wasting much of your time, we are going to be looking at how to um, retrieve data from the Firestore database. So we basically have two methods of retrieving data. We retrieve data in real time as the data is changing in our Firestore database. It's reflecting in our application, and we can also use the get method in the Flutter Firebase command to retrieve the data once and display it. And if we need to retrieve an updated version of that particular data, you go ahead and run the command again. So we have a simple UI, only a button which we click and it executes the command that we have in it. So when we press the button, it automatically executes any command that we add to it. So without wasting much of your time, I go ahead to show you how to retrieve data once using the get method from the Firebase database. So void, and now we retrieve, let's say retrieve once. Let's use this, retrieve once, and we call our instance of Firestore instance dot collections. And where is that collection? We are looking at user. We want to get everything in user. So we do users and then dot get. Now, once it has gotten it, then we execute another query that says, then once this has executed, we want to the value of the primary key or unique ID, a document ID, will be stored in this value here, and then we want to execute a query with that. So we go ahead and do this, and then close it up here, come back here, and we want query snapshots. So sorry, not query, we are not using snapshot here, we are using value dot docs. So for each of the document ID, what do we want to do with it? We want to get the result in it, and then we want to be able to display that result. So I don't need this now. So we can simply do what? We can simply print the result because we don't have the UI to display it directly. So we are going to show it up in our console. So what this simply means is that we are going to access this collection users, and every document here has something it contains, has a value it contains, and each of the value is going to be printed in the console of our dev environment. Is going to be printed here on this console. So I'll go ahead and copy this and add it to the command button so it can execute. So I add it here. So I do a quick reload, and then let's try to run it. I hope my keys have not expired. Okay, it says I don't have permission to execute this particular command. So what happened might be that let's check my rules. Let's check my rule. It has been long I created this, and I think I'm using the oh. So if date time is less than current date time. So today is 21st of August, but the date time we have here is this. So I change this to September, and I publish it. So it's going to look at it. If the current date time is less than September, which of course it will be, so it will run now. So I go ahead and I execute this command one more time. I execute it one more time. Let me see. Okay, so here is our data. Here is our data. We have sub-collections, we have collections, we have all this. This is our data, which is retrieved from. In fact, let's go ahead and print each of the keys as well. So I say print value. So each of the keys, it will print it, and then it will print um, the key, then it will print the value inside of the key. So I go ahead and I click on execute command. It executes. Oh, instance of this dot what dot docs. Let me see if I can get the ID. Oh, yeah, I can't get it. So it's printing an instance of this. We'll come back to it later. Let's just stick to what we are doing. Come back to this later. So this is basically how you can retrieve data and use the data in your application. The data is returned as let me see, it's returned as a JSON map. So once it's returned, you can then use it to check on whatever you want to check. So this is how to retrieve data once from your sub collections. Sorry, from your collection. And then what we are going to do right now is to retrieve from sub collections, to retrieve data from sub collections. So we have a sub collection here. If you look at this place, you can see we have a sub collection. This sub collection, this contains a sub collection, characteristics, this, address, this, and the name, the age, and email. Why this contains address, only address, and name, age, and email. This contains address, name, age, and email, while some of them contains only the normal data. So we are going to go ahead and retrieve from sub collections. So I do void retrieve sub collection. Let me call it subcol, and I go ahead and I use the instance of Firestore which I defined earlier. Actually, this Firestore instance is defined here. This is it here. This is how it's defined. So instead of calling this firestore.instance, I create an instance of this and pass the value to and I'm using it here. So I use this dot collection and users, and then I do dot get. So the get command is used to retrieve the value just once, while the future builder, passing the future builder or using stream, retrieves it in real time. So once it has gotten it, we execute a command. Then what do we use here? Do we use value? Mm, let's use value. Value. Let's use value, same way we use at the top, and close it out. And then we say value dot docs dot not this kind of docs, not Microsoft Docs. Okay, for each we say results, And then what do we want to do for each result we got? We call the instance of Firestore which we created Firestore instance. So we are calling the instance of now for each of these results is going to look within it again to retrieve the sub collection. We did remember what we did here for this and retrieve the values inside for the collection. Now we are going to do the same for this one and retrieve the sub collection, which can be pets, or which do we have pets? Do we have pets? Okay, we are going to look at it. Um, let's see what we have. Let's go back to data and see what we have. I want to make sure that we have that value here. So okay, this is it here. I have a collection called pets. So okay, I have a collection called pets. So it's going to retrieve that collection. That's what we want to retrieve. So we go ahead and do collection. So we specify the root collection, which is users, and then we do doc, get the document associated with it, and we say result dot what? The ID of the result that we've gotten before, that is we've gotten here, and then we go ahead to do dot collection, the collection in it. What are we looking for? We are looking for this collection called pets here. And then what are we going to do for each pet that is found? We want to get the value, the data inside. We want to get dot get, same thing we did over here. We are doing it all over again. And then we do dot, what do we want to, after we've gotten it, we want to do, let me call it, the value here will be subcol, let me call it subcol, which is short form of sub collection, and I have to close it as well. And what do I want to do with all those things? Same thing I did for value dot for each here. I'm going to still repeat it. So we have sub collection, which is short form of subcol dot docs dot for each, and then okay, it gave me element here because apparently I've used the results here before. And for each element here, what do I want to do? Let me close out this. So for each element here, I want to print what? I want to print the data associated with it, not result. This is element dot data. Let me see if we can, okay. So this is basically how to retrieve sub collection. What this actually means is you call the instance of Firebase Firestore you created, call collection, and you pass the collection name to it and call the method get. It will get everything in that particular collection. Then you use an iteration to do whatever you want to do with. So what we are doing is for each iteration, we check that particular document in this collection, and check whether it has the sub collection called pets. If it does, then we'll check the document inside that sub collection and check how many pets there are. If we have one pet, it will only print one. If we have two, three, four, no matter the amount, that is what it will print. So I'll go ahead and copy this and then put it in our command here. This is our command. This is it here. So I'm going to refresh this. Don't forget, back here we have only one pet here, and it's found under this ID here. And the name of the pet is Blackie, type is dog, and pet age is 1 year. So I'll go ahead and execute this command now. It's going to print here. We don't have a UI to display, so I'm going to be printing it here. So this is it here. It printed two of these. So we just need to confirm how many pets we have. I have one here. Do I still have one? Let me check. No, I don't have any pet here. I don't have any pet here. I don't have any value here at all. Wait. Oh, I have a pet here. So I have a pet here as well. Blackie, dog. So let's change this to Bluey and update. So we see and we call it cat and update. So Bluey and cat. So we go back over to our data and we no need to refresh because we didn't do anything on this UI. So I press this execute command again and let's see what it brings. It's still bringing dog. How come? Okay, so let me see. Pet Blackie. Okay, let's check whether we have another pet over here. Okay, we do have a third pet over here, and it's still Blackie. So let's call this Bluey, and let's call it Bird. So before we had three pets, our sub collection. Now we still have three, but it's only retrieving two. I think it's because I deleted this before. I deleted this guy before, and we have pets here. We have pets here, and we have pets here as well. So we go back to our. This is only retrieving two, but now the data it will retrieve should be different. It should be different. Okay, we have it here. Bluey, age is 1 and type is bird. So the reason it's not retrieving this other one is because I used this to run a query before and I deleted some things inside. I think I can't remember what I deleted, but that is the reason it's not seeing it up here. So this is how to retrieve some collections and basically that is it. And let's quickly look at how to retrieve a document. Let's quickly look at how to retrieve a document, and that will be for today. In our next tutorial, we will be looking at how to retrieve data in real time. So let's quickly look at how to retrieve a document, basically. So what we will be printing will be the document ID, retrieving the document ID, using that ID to maybe store it in a button, store it in any widget so that you can use it to either update, know which particular document you want to update, know which document you want to query, know which document you want to delete, or know which document you want to view its content. So a special situation is when you click on, maybe you have a name of the person, age, and you have a button here saying delete. So the value you pass to that button, the parameter you pass to it is the document ID. So it will know what exactly is going to be delete. It's going to delete when you call the delete method. So without wasting much time, let's go ahead and do uh, retrieve document. So basically what we are retrieving is the document ID. We the document ID, and then what are we trying to do? We are trying to retrieve one document in. So basically we can use we can use Firebase user to retrieve the document ID of that particular user in our Firebase. And a typical example of what I mean is when you go over to this place, authentication. Do I have authentication running? Do I have authentication enabled? Um, let's see. Okay, let's jump on what we have to do. If you want to retrieve the ID of the current user, the user ID, you can create an instance of Firebase user, which is Firebase. Do I use did I oh I don't have Firebase alt. Okay, so for you to do that, you will need to add Firebase alt. So what I have here is just Firestore and this. I don't have Firebase Auth. So you can do the Firebase authentication, and then you can use this particular code to retrieve it. So it's not going to work for me, but I'm just going to show you instance dot current user. So it will create an instance of this, and you can now pass this particular guy and use it like this. Fire Firestore instance dot collection. Let's say you are storing each user in your collection using their user ID, which is used for the authentication doc, and then you can now pass the Firebase user dot UID. So it will look for that user and it will retrieve it, and you can then print dot get dot then, and then you can then do print value dot data. The data inside will be just the user. So this is how to retrieve a document using the Firebase current user. And another one we might look at is how to retrieve a data. Let's say we don't know what the user ID. Let's say we don't know the user ID. We don't know the user ID or the document ID or the value of what we want to retrieve. So you can use the where command. So what we are going to do is let's quickly look at what we have here and see where we are going to pick, what we are going to pick. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, so I will say where age is equals to 24. So we're going to use wherever the age is equals to 24 to retrieve all those data and display it. So I'm going to use the Firestore instance dot what collection, and name of the collection is users. And what do I want to do? I want to use where first, and what field am I looking for? Age, and then I do age is equal to what? It's an integer, so we don't put it in a string. Then I'll come back and I'll tell it to get the value. And once it gets the value, what do we want to do with it? And do we print the value, or do we, okay, let's look at the value one after the other. Value, we make it a block method, not a single. So for each of the value, we want to docs dot for each value. What do we want to do with each of the value? We want to print element dot. Do we want to print the ID of the element? If we want to print, okay, we can print the ID of the element, and we can also print what? Print the data inside the element. Okay, so this is how to retrieve a document using condition. So the condition is where age is equal to 24. Wherever the age of the person is, or age of the user is equals to 24, it should retrieve it. So we add this to our command here, and we do this, and I'm going to raise this up a little, and then we execute this. So what do we have here? We have here two values. The value number one, okay, I have three. The ID is this, and this, and this, and the data inside is 24 years, 24 years, and 24 years. This is Sally, this is Maria, and this is Maria. And the first one, let's change the first one to from Maria to uh, Jonathan. Okay, so let's update that. So it's Jonathan, and let's update this to John, and then it's this. So let's go back to our code, and then we rerun this. So it clears this free all this, and then we run again. So you can see from this place that Jonathan 24, this, and we have Sally and we have Maria. Let's change the age of Jonathan to something different. Let's change it to 25 or say 26. And when we run that particular command again, Jonathan will not be among what is retrieved. So I quickly reload and execute the command. We only have 2. Jonathan is no longer there because his age is not 24. So this is how to use a condition to retrieve documents. In our next tutorial, we will be looking at how to retrieve data, listing for data changes in real time. We are going to add a little UI here so that we will be seeing it as we are updating it on the Firebase, or we are updating it from another means. So that will be all for now. To check up on the previous tutorial, visit my YouTube channel. There are some other cool tutorials there, like ride sharing applications and dashboard, user dashboards, nice US UI, and stuffs like that. So that will be all for now. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.